Hey guys, I'm back again once more for the final of these Halloween pitches that I'm making. I'm pretty much just gonna do both the Rob Zombie movies in one video. Since obviously, like yesterday when I did the video or whatever, I was done in like 5 minutes for the pitch. Well, that's all I got. So I figured this would be a good challenge since I had some issues with the Rob Zombie movie. Now I will say that it is very well shot. Um, the acting isn't too bad. The actress playing Laurie overacts a little bit, more so in the second one than the first one. She has a good scream, like as far as good scream and all that. There is some resemblance to Jamie Lee Curtis a little bit with the hair and a little bit in the facial, um, and she's not too bad, but she does overact a little bit in the second sequel. But I don't necessarily blame her for that. I blame some of the writing and direction, because Rob Zombie is a great cinematographer, not so good at writing scripts. But that's a whole nother tale for another day, because today I have been tasked with coming up with a sequel, a better sequel than we got to his remake of Halloween. Now, for those of you who haven't seen it, basically he took it from Michael's childhood, and he has a lot more family members that he kills. He kills his sister and her boyfriend and the stepdad. And then his baby sister is, of course, Laurie Strode, or Angel, as they call her here for some reason. And then his mom, played by Rob Zombie's wife, is a stripper. And there's a whole big, there's a lot of the C word and just, really, really just white trash people. Because it was less like, hey, man, Devil's Rejects, we did this. Let's just do this with everything I do now. And it's just like, dude, you didn't have to make them white trash rednecks. I mean, I get changing it up a little bit, but he doesn't even kill his parents in the first movie. He just kills his sister. That's it. That's what starts the whole chain of events. And if you want to go on a serial killer thing, a lot of what happens with serial killers, and this is what I learned from documentaries and watching Dexter, is that they often return to the scene of the first crime, and that's kind of them reliving that first kill. That's what I've always heard about. So in a lot of ways, him going back to his house was leading to that. So kind of I don't know, him killing all these other people, I certainly wasn't brokenhearted these pieces of trash got killed. But it just was one of those things. Plus he talks and he has this kind of whiny, screamy little kid thing. And I get they're going for what they're going for. They're trying to go for a serial killer or being in a bad environment, being bullied at school. And he kills the one bully and stuff like that. That's technically his first kill, which also kind of was just that kind of... He still has to kill his sister. That's the only thing you really need to do. I mean, I don't care if you kill his sister, you kill your mom, because kill somebody, and then that's the kill. But anyway, so then we have scenes with him in a sanitarium, which I think was at least a nice addition, because that's something we didn't see in the original. We just pretty much jumped to him being an adult. So I think it was interesting. I still wouldn't have had him talk. I think having Michael Myers talk is a huge mistake. Maybe he talked before the killing and then he just went silent. That happens. That can happen. But, I think, I don't know. This isn't solely for you. I'm just trying to get the context for everything for everybody who maybe hasn't seen it. And then basically he goes to the sanitarium, and then you go through the years of Loomis trying to reach him and befriend him and stuff like that and get through to him and get him to understand that he's never leaving the sanitarium. And then, I believe it was an unrated thing where they had this scene. I think it's unrated. It's been a while since I've seen the whole thing. I did watch the ending just to see who's there at the end for my sequel, just to kind of know what characters I'm working with. So I believe in the actual either unrated director's cut, something like that. There's a scene where these two rapey guys in the sanitarium try to rape a girl, and Michael Myers saves her, doesn't kill her. Saves her and kills these rapists, which, that's what I want to do. Let's cheer on Michael Myers. Yeah, he's avenging. Avenging! I'm like, okay, you just saved someone from getting raped. You're a hero. It's just okay. And then he basically just gets his mask, which he already has as a kid. It's just kind of weird choice there. It looked really ridiculous with him as a kid, not just have a different mask. It doesn't have to be the clown mask necessarily, but just a different simple mask to start with. I think get the mask later. But I know you're making changes. You don't want it to be an exact shot for shot, and that's not what I'm even asking for. If you're gonna do a remake, but I mean, do your own thing, but to a limit. Just nitpicking things here. But I'm not here to just trash the film, just trying to get context. And then we basically get the first movie after that, after he's out of the sanitarium and stuff, and killing and stuff like that. So the way it ends, basically, is Michael kills Loomis by, like, stabbing his fucking eyes out, basically. And then just drags him there and leaves him there, and that's it for Loomis. So Loomis is dead. And then Michael tackles Laurie down these stairs and crashes through this gate, and then they're both bruised and beaten, and then she finds the gun and tries to shoot him 3 times, and there's no bullets the first couple times, and then he grabs her wrist, and then she shoots him, and then blood spatters, and then she screams up until, like, a flash of him holding her as a baby and stuff like that. So technically, you could say that Michael's dead and Laurie's, just at her breaking point. So not necessarily a bad ending if you were going to end this thing and that was it, which is really what Rob Zombie's intention was to just, that's it, guys. Michael Myers dead, Loomis is dead, Laurie's a little, been through a lot of shit here, and that's all I want to do with it. But then the Weinsteins came in and, like, because fucking Weinsteins, but came in and just basically, like, you need to make a sequel. And then that's what we got. So I don't totally blame Rob Zombie on the sequel so much. I mean, I do for what he presented, but he really didn't want to make a sequel, so I'll give him a break on that at least. But regardless, this is where we're at. So in this version, Loomis is dead. So there's no, like, oh well, he's just blind. Because, I mean, you could go, I don't know if he really squishes, he basically puts his thumbs in the guy's eyes, like eye sockets. You see a little bit of blood, so at the very least, Loomis is blind. At the very least, he's blind. So you could have Loomis in there if you wanted to. And technically, we don't see Michael Myers totally dead, so there's still the, we don't know where she shot him. He could still have been, bleeding or whatever. Obviously, she's roughed up. Annie's been taken to the hospital. Annie survives the first one this time. Because it's Daniel Harris, and that's, what it is. Which is fine. There's a little change there, so it wasn't just like, yeah. So anyway, so that's where we're at. We have Michael Myers definitely not dead if we're making a sequel, so. And Laurie obviously dealing with the trauma of this horrible night. And Annie's still around as well. Sheriff Brackett's still around. Played by the voice of Chucky. What is his name? What is his name? Oh my god. It's been a long night. I worked last night, so we're not going to worry about it. We know who he is. He's the voice of Chucky. And many other awesome roles that he's been in. He's actually not a bad Brackett. I like him as a sheriff. That was a good casting. So anyway, we have him. We have Laurie. We have Annie. Do we want to keep Loomis or not? Because either way, he'd have to have some major eye surgery for him not to be, blind. We've killed Loomis off in the other ones. Let's go ahead and have him be back, but he's got a nurse with him to help him, Maybe he's, recovering. Maybe he is going to have some eye surgery, have some eyeball replacements or something, I'm not sure exactly what that would do if you had your eyes. Are you just blind, or are you dead? It's kind of hard to wrap your head around, but we'll try it though. We'll try it. So we're gonna keep Loomis in this thing because Malcolm McDowell's a good actor, but I think I like Donald Pleasance better in the role, but Malcolm McDowell's still a good actor and gave what he could to the performance. I did like some of the scenes with young Michael and stuff like that. So like he genuinely was trying to reach this kid. So anyway, how do we open this thing up here? Well, let me tell you how we open this up. We open up, Laurie is in the hospital. Loomis is also in the hospital being, taken care of, probably having emergency surgery. Michael is wounded, but currently locked up right now. They do take him away. He is wounded and bleeding, so he's not quite rising up yet. So we don't have him immediately come there. So both Annie and Laurie are being attended to in the hospital. Sheriff Brackett's there to kind of check on his daughter and check on them. And so then we basically have a situation where once Michael Myers is locked up, then, it's not going to be long before he breaks out. Once he's tended to, one of the nurse attendant there at the thing tends to his wounds. Once his wounds are healed, he basically snaps her neck. And then he goes for his mask, which is, it's interesting watching it though, because like there's a couple shots in there, and just to go back for a minute, but where he kind of looks like his mask almost looks like he's smiling. It's just this weird context of like the Michael Myers mask. But hey, I'm happy to see you, sister. And in this, obviously, what they were trying to establish there is that he does care for his younger sister, whereas in the original, he's just trying to kill a babysitter. And we don't know it's his sister yet, but and he just wants to kill her because he must kill his sister. So this one, they seem to be trying to establish. I also watched like an alternate ending where like he actually lets Laurie go and then like gets shot down by the police. So that's an interesting take there too. So, but at the same time, he was still trying to kill her. So it's not as if he's like, you're right, that's cool. Let's have myself a cookie here. Yes. These are gigantic cookies. You can get them at Safeway. This is the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup one. They are very tasty. They're not a sponsor for this channel, so I just decided to eat a cookie. I want to try to pitch when I was on me sound right. Anyway, bless you! My wife sneezed out there. God bless her. Anyway, so so he's out. He's on the prowl again. Loomis is dealing with the surgery. He's got his eyes fucking gouged out, so they might be able to save one of his eyes. We'll see. We can play with time, and so the rampage is going to continue. He's killed this nurse. He kills some of these security guards. He gets out. Steals a police car. What he does. And then he tries to find where his sister's at. Typical Michael Myers thing. So he reaches there and, starts killing through the hospital again. So, yes, we're getting for a little bit of the hospital scene. But I don't want to keep it there because I don't want it to just be Halloween 2, the remake. Shot for shot remake. Cause that's the last thing I want to do. I'll just be like, look, it's the remake of Psycho. It's shot for shot. So we don't want to do that. But yeah, I would say, I'm trying to think, was the nurse in the first one with Loomis? I mean, there's the one nurse that he kills because she's stupid and leaves like a knife next to him. But like his usual nurse from the first movie, was she in there? Why not bring her in? And you know what? I'm going to change it up. Because Octavia Spencer was in that Halloween 2 movie and got horribly, brutally murdered. And that's not how we're going to treat Octavia Spencer. Octavia Spencer is going to be that nurse. I don't care. We can race change it. Who gives a shit? It's a remake, people. We're rolling with the times. All right. Plus, Octavia Spencer is too good of an actress to be wasted in an opening scene. So yeah, she's going to be there to help Loomis and all that. And try to help Laurie as well. And we will have a psychiatrist too. But Michael Myers is on his way there, so he's not there yet. So I'm moving him to kind of get out of the hospital. Once they take it out of the hospital, let's say the nurse is helping him, Octavia Spencer is helping, and Richard Reilly, who played the security guard in that dream sequence, is also going to be in this movie because, God damn it, you would not disrespect the jump to conclusions guy from Office Space. You do not do it. Respect for Richard Reilly. He was also in that movie Hatchet. So yeah, Richard Reilly, jump conclusions guy. So yeah, he's not gonna have a huge part, but he got a little bit more to do. So Michael's killing people along the way. Sheriff Brackett hears that he's on the prowl. He gets some police forces to go after him. He's trying to keep Annie and Laurie in protection. There's a psychiatrist who's not Loomis. And I think the psychiatrist is maybe a little bit out there. Sort of along the lines of the guy from Halloween 2018. I kind of like, remembers the murders and stuff and really sympathizes with Michael for that situation he was in. Maybe he was even a classmate. or they were a classmate. Could be a woman, could be a man, doesn't matter. So we kind of get that kind of Michael Myers hero worship again. A lot of how like people romanticize serial killers a lot. Ryan Murphy. But that kind of romanticism, it's Michael freaking Myers. But, so we get that kind of romanticism of that. So, sort of akin to what I was doing with the Halloween 2 one, too. But, why not just mix it up a little bit? So we're not getting another killer or nothing like that. But, she's just kind of messing with Laurie's mind a little bit. And kind of disrespecting her and being like, yeah, well, you're his sister, why weren't you there for him? Why didn't you ever visit him? Why didn't you, like, I didn't freaking know I was adopted, Another family adopted me and they got killed. You killed the Strodes. You killed Dee Wallace. Damn you. So, yeah, I would say kind of a situation we can have a similar scene 2018 where that fanboy psychiatrist is being like, yeah, Michael, go get her. Finish what you started. They don't understand you like I understand you. And then, of course, Michael will turn on them and, kill them too. Or Michael ain't got time for that shit. Michael's a killing machine. So I'd still keep Tyler Mane too, because I like that. He's very imposing. Very tall guy. I've seen him wrestle before. He wrestled as Big Sky before he wrestled as Tyler Mane. WCW wrestling fan knowledge. He was pretty good at Sabretooth. They should let him talk more, but so I do think he's a very imposing Michael Myers. I give him credit for that. And he was pretty brutal in the scenes. So definitely good on that. So yeah, I'd love to have him heal some people. Well, I will say Annie dies of this one too, just like she did in there. But she'll put up a good fight before Michael kills her. Loomis will also die in this one, because why not? We gotta kill Loomis. I mean, he's already very wounded with the eye thing, so he's already dead. So okay. And then Richard Reilly's character will die trying to protect as well. So Sheriff Brackett's dealing with shit. He's dealing with Annie being died, so he's traumatized, and we can still have that kind of scene that we had in there, which was really a good acting scene from him. Alright, so let's come down to Laurie and the nurse, Octavia Spencer. Now, she'll get wounded as well. She's trying to reach Michael as well, trying to get through to him, similar to how Loomis was in the first movie, like, Michael, stop it, so he'll stab her, and then it'll finally come down to a final battle, and, and then Laurie will finally, just snap and just kill Michael finally and say, I'm tired of you. You killed all my friends, you killed all my family. And then she just has her breaking point and just, stabs the shit out of him. Kind of like she did in the Halloween 2 there. But, stab the shit out of him, stab him right in the throat, just cut his throat, whatever. Be vicious with it. And then just kind of look at her hands in shock. Shock of what she's done and trauma of what she's done and what she's been through. And then, and then basically just black out. So somewhere in that vein, we kind of leave it open that she's obviously been through shit, but Michael Myers is dead. And that's how you would end Halloween Rob Zombie 2, with that following the first movie. So like I said, with this we use Octavia Spencer better. Richard Reilly has a little bit bigger role. And a well-used role, for sure. Myers is still very vicious. And, I think we spread it out. Loomis is still around, but not as his best, self. But at least he's not on TV promoting books about Michael Myers killing and being an exploitive dickhead for no reason, out of no character choice whatsoever that made any sense. What the fuck was that? So that was my pitch for Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie version of what I would have done to follow the first movie. Okay, now for the much harder one, right up there with Resurrection, and what the fuck do you do with this? Okay, so by the end, in the theatrical cut at least, by the end of Halloween 2, Loomis is once again dead, and Michael Myers is fucking dead, and now Laurie's basically just out of her mind. She's seeing the mom and the horse and all this stuff. So that's a very weird choice with the whole... I never understood that at all. What was the fucking point of that? I mean, if it's a dream or a hallucination or whatever, but Why does she see her mom with a fucking horse? What the fuck horse? What is the point of the fucking horse? If just seeing her dead mom would have been fine, but like, what's the horse? Maybe in the comments, maybe you guys understand it. I don't get it. What is the fucking horse for? Why is he seeing a horse? He didn't have a horse. Michael Myers didn't have a horse as a kid. His mom wasn't. I mean, there was no horse involved. They were a white trash family. I mean, there was no horse. They weren't on a farm. What's the fucking white horse for? Oh, it's a symbolism for. No, make it make sense. Anyway, enough on that rant. So Myers is dead, or at least supposedly dead. Whether we want to go that route, and Laurie's in a basically mental state. She's lost it. I mean, like I said, there's a scene where she comes out wearing the mask, which is kind of strange. So I think we can kind of tease that in this movie. Like, kind of what we did with Jamie Lloyd, with, like, she's fighting the evil. She's fighting the evil, fighting the instinct. You know, killing Michael Myers the way she did, you know, she kind of liked the killing film. So there's kind of that, you know, she's been through some shit. She's been through some fucking shit. And she's definitely on edge, you know, and she's watched more friends die, and Loomis is dead, and Loomis was an asshole in this one for some reason. And, it's alright, they're gone. Loomis is gone. All these people are gone. This is following Halloween 2, so I can't use Octavia Spencer this time. That was a dream sequence anyway, so she's not really dead, so fuck you. So what I would do is have it be very much focused on Laurie trying to struggle with wanting to kill again. She's in the hospital. She's have a lot of scenes almost in the sanitarium, very much reminiscent to Michael dealing with it. We don't have Loomis, but we can introduce another doctor, another psychiatrist that is trying to help her. Now, obviously, the only person she's really killed is Michael Myers. She didn't kill Loomis. She didn't kill any of her friends. But there's this instinct in her. When she put the mask on, it made her feel, you know, that darkness that he saw, you know. And like I said, I know that they were going for more of a serial killer, kind of realistic, sometimes sympathetic version of Michael Myers. But I still think the mask is very much key. Especially if you're going to have that mask when he was a kid that he had. It's like, that feels more evil than anything. Because when he puts that mask on, because he knows that throughout the sanitarium scenes, at a certain point, he never stops taking out those masks. Like, he refuses to. Like, that's his real face. It's very much like, you know, Batman in terms of, you know, the real Bruce Wayne is Batman, you know. It's kind of that, the evil in that sense. But yeah, so I think that's kind of have that semblance. And to have her start to experiment with wearing masks and thinking that she can't look at her real face. And like really make it very much about her trauma. And more so than they did in Halloween 2, which was just not great. But like play off that a little bit. Like really build on that, you know, and have a sympathetic doctor who's, you know, unlike the one I had in the other one. My other pitch, this one will be sympathetic. And let's see, who could we get to play that doctor? Who's someone that's worked? Let's go with Meg Foster. She's worked with Rob Zombie a couple times. She's a veteran actress. I could see her being very motherly too, because Laurie's still relatively young here, probably like college age. So let's get Meg Foster. She's worked with Rob Zombie before. Why not? She can be this kind of new, not new Loomis, but like new psychiatrist. And she can also be starting to get through to Laurie. And maybe about halfway through the movie, we can kind of see that that connection to Michael is there, and Michael starts to come back to life. Not a zombie, Rob Zombie, but comes back to life, and the killing starts again. And then Laurie has to kind of choose whether to go with him or to take him down finally. And what I would do is, yeah, I would definitely have Meg Foster be a big part as well, and really be the only one who seems to be able to get through to Laurie, because Sheriff Brackett's washed his hands of it. He cares about her, but he can't. He'd still be in this too. And he's probably visiting her and all that. You know, her, like I said, her adoptive family is dead. She doesn't have any brothers and sisters. You could maybe, because I don't think they really tied in the other Lindsay or Tommy. You can maybe, you know, bring them in. Maybe they come and visit Laurie too. You know, they're a little older or something like that. But yeah, basically comes down to Myers and her facing off, him trying to reach out to her, reach in that brother-sister connection, and then, you know, Meg Foster shoots him, and then she picks up the knife and looks at Meg Foster as if to try to fight the killing urge, and then she can just stab Michael, once and for all. Meg Foster can shoot him again, and then basically like, you want to go H2O? Fucking just cut his fucking head off. Fuck it. End the fucking connection. Laurie still has some trauma to deal with, but her and Meg Foster hug in a very motherly daughter type of situation. There's no horse. There's no Rob Zombie's wife. Maybe she pops up during the scenario where she's seeing this horse or she's talking about it. Like make reference to it because it was there. We got to reference it. So maybe during the actual sessions she can mention seeing her mother with this horse. Her mother, who she barely remembers because she was a baby when she died, but or when she killed herself. Yeah, so I would say do that so much. So you still get a big final thing, but have her be very conflicted in terms of how she is dealing with this. So it's very much it's a little reminiscent to what I did with Jamie Lloyd's character when, she had stabbed the stepmother and all that. But it's dealing with Laurie, but it's not making Laurie the new killer. Because I don't know. I don't like that aspect of like, well, now Laurie's the new killer because she's family, and it's like, no, not. That's just like, just because someone in your family happens to be a serial killer, that's definitely traumatizing. But like, or even tried to kill you and you survived, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to suddenly become a serial killer too. It's like you can get help and get through it and move on with your life. But there are cases where that happened, guys. So it just feels too much like a horror cliche to like, now I'm the killer, like with like Friday the 13th 5, where was it Tommy in that one too? Not Tommy Doyle. It's Tommy Jarvis. That's right. A lot of Tommies in horror movies. Tommy Knockers. But yeah, like where they had him put on a Jason mask. I was like, no, no, that's dumb, and that's why they didn't do that in the second movie, the next movie after that. So yeah, that would be my pitch, guys. Actually, that actually wasn't as. I felt like I had something there with that one. I felt more as I was writing, as I was setting it out. I was kind of like, that actually wouldn't be a bad movie. Because we'd still have Michael Myers in it. He wouldn't be gone totally until the end of this. But this will be how we wrap up. We get Laurie dealing with the evil and the trauma. We get another psychiatrist played by a capable actress who Rob Zombie's worked with before. So we get that kind of, balance of good and evil and balancing whether to go full over and to give in to that kind of urge or be able to stop yourself and, stop the evil that's holding you back, essentially. So yeah, that's what I would get. It'd be a very artisty film, and whatever. But yeah, so those would be my pitches for Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 and Rob Zombie's Halloween 3, if it were to have taken place. Which obviously, Rob Zombie didn't want to make Halloween 2, so, probably wouldn't have taken place, and honestly, that's the best pitch I could come up with for that. At some point, I will probably do something where I kind of like say, well, if we fix this, this movie would be okay. Just like little changes here and there. Because that's more of a reworking, and this was more of a pitch of following that up, which I think is a good challenge, because it's like, especially, and it'll be fun to do that with Friday the 13th, it'll be fun to do that with Nightmare on Elm Street, other series and stuff like that have a lot of sequels that maybe weren't so great. But a lot of the thing is, I can watch any of these movies, really. Even the Rob Zombie ones, if it's on, I can watch it. That's the thing about Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare. It's like, even the bad ones, I can be like, yeah, this is bad, but oh well. It's still sometimes more enjoyable than some of the shit they put out today. So, although there are some decent horror movies this year. I liked Barbarian, that was pretty good. And Pearl is, I haven't seen Pearl yet. I've seen X though. X was really good. So yeah, there's some good stuff out. And Terrifier 2 is supposed to be pretty good, I heard. My wife doesn't want to see it though. She didn't. She wasn't too fond of the first one. A little too gruesome of the killing for her. But maybe I'll see it on my own or something. Anyway, guys, cool. This has been the last Halloween pitch that I will be doing. So comment, guys, in our community, or just comment down below. What other series would you like to see me do some pitches for? I'm always been a big Nightmare on Elm Street fan, so that would be fun. Jason will be a good challenge too. He's got a prequel series coming, so but that would be a good challenge to try to come up with something, or maybe some cohesive storyline, because those usually went from movie to movie with no cohesive characters half the time. But beyond Tommy Jarvis, but so that would be fun too, or just anything else. I will fair warning that I've only really seen 4 of the Hellraisers, the first, second, third, and the fourth. A lot of the other straight to video ones I've seen clips of and reviews of, and I haven't watched the new one yet. So I couldn't really do a whole lot on those. We did actually watch the first one again the other night on Shudder. That was a lot of fun. Great movie. Yeah. So I mean, but most of any kind of series, I've seen all the Texas Chainsaw Massacres except for the Leatherface one where it was 4 people and you were trying to guess who was really Leatherface. I heard the basic premise of it and I was just kind of like, oh, yeah, that's dumb. So it's just like, it doesn't really, so yeah. Cool. I will wrap this up then, guys. 30-minute video, not too bad. So hope you enjoyed this, guys. Like and subscribe. Let's get up to 20, guys. Let's get up to 20 subscribers. That would be awesome. So if you're watching this, if you like these videos, I will add this to the playlist with the other ones. So it's easy to find and easy to watch them all. And I really hope you've enjoyed this, guys. This has been a lot of fun for me. I feel like I've come home and done something. It's like, hey, I did something. Cool. Cool. And if you want to watch some sketches, me and Anna will be doing a bunch of sketches on the Adam and Anna channel. I believe the link is on the page. Might be in there. If not, I'll try to put it on there. And that's something where we do comedy. And we also do a D&D thing. We play a game called The Curse of Strahd, where we play characters sucked in from the real world and stuff like that. And it's very improvised and a lot of fun. So if you want to see us do that, that is on Nat Gaming Fun channel. That's it, yeah. And check that out. So, cool, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great weekend.